Well, look, the Obama campaign spied on our campaign, and they've been caught. All right, and now let's see what happens to them. But they have been caught. They've been caught red-handed. It's probably treason. It's a horrible thing they did. It probably never happened before. At least nobody got caught doing it. But they used the intelligence agencies of our country to spy on my campaign, and they have been caught. And there are a lot of people involved. I don't want to say how much she's involved. Frankly, if he chooses her, that's fine, but that's a potential liability. We'll see. But President Obama knew about it. Joe Biden knew about it. Comey knew about it. Brennan, Clapper, the whole group, they all knew about it. Lisa Page, her lover Strzok, they all knew about it. And we have it documented. We have it in texts. We have it in all sorts of forms. They knew about it. It was a terrible thing. Should have never happened and should never be allowed to happen again to a president. This should never happen again. This was a setup like we've never seen. I think it's the political crime of the century. And they've been caught. So let's see what happens to them all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
To all the Americans and our allies that lost their lives on or because of the attacks of 9/11.
Pittsburgh studio number one, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
Wow, a little hard to follow up after that, but we'll give it a shot. Welcome and thank you for choosing Cold War Radio, the Cold War Radio patron hotline, 412-206-6208. Please go to steelcityresistance.com, become a Cold War Radio patron. You can also catch the research room, the video 2 page. If you want to write to the show, Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 10433, 370 Castle Shannon Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15234. Let's go. Let's get right into it. I'm not doing it by myself. Let's go to the northern neck of Virginia and welcome Jack to the show. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Hutch. Hello, everyone tuned in on Spreaker, and a huge high five to those in the Spreaker chat room, the VFW. They're being very patriotic tonight. It's that 19th year. It's hard to believe it's been that long, that quick, and to think of it in the context of some of the folks born in the United States that day have already graduated high school.
You know, I think about it, and right before the show, I was thinking about what we were going to do in this segment of the show, and I just thought how much we've changed, how much I've changed. I mean, how much I thought I knew. Back then, I would have probably considered myself a neocon at that time. My heroes were George W. Bush, John McCain, even Paul Ryan. I mean,
a lot more trust in the people that represented us, I could say. Yeah, that trust has been worn away. You know,
the genie's out of the bottle. It's gone. You're never going to put it back in. I mean, these people like Bill Kristol and Mitt Romney that think that this is all going to just go back to normal are out of their minds, man. This is never going to go back. I feel so when I think about it in that long time frame, that 19 years. I feel so betrayed, especially by the Republican Party. Just what a fool I was, and so many of us. I mean,
think about it this: when we're reflecting on those that were lost on that day, and then you think of the 19 years and how many further American lives fighting overseas lost their lives or were maimed or permanently disfigured or disabled. And an article I saw today said that one of the masterminds, I think it's KSM, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, is still
I know, I saw that. I couldn't believe that. I saw that too.
And I was like, that made me angry.
Yeah.
Right? You know, he's still living it up under protection. Here you have the mastermind of 9/11. He is safely protected, and so far, going on 20 years, safe, good to go. You get some accused or charged pedophile doing evil things with children, and somehow, just like many others, they get suicided in jail.
Or right? What about Brian Colfage, a triple amputee? And they send a United States Postal Inspection Service, sends 10 agents down there to Florida for a monetary crime it's not even confirmed a crime yet, and they snatch him out of his wheelchair and throw him in the back of a police vehicle. He gets thrown in a cell that's not disability ADA compliant. And Hillary Clinton's walking around free.
And that's the USP or US the postal
PIS.
USPIS group drove from New York City down to Florida. Did not tie in with the other Fed, the FBI and the folks down there.
Or the USPIS in Miami. I mean, they have it in Florida too. It had to come from New York. New York is corrupt beyond
all the way down. That's why it's. That's that, and that. Folks, if you don't recognize that man's name, the triple amputee, he's
He's
one
been
of
on the show.
Founders of We Build the Wall. Right?
He's been on the show twice.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
When Bannon went down, they went to his house and dragged him out.
Actually went on a yacht to get him. He was on a yacht with a Chinese billionaire.
Bannon.
Yeah,
that was Bannon.
I thought that's who you said. I thought that's who you're talking about.
No. I'm just saying when they got Bannon, this is what they also did was they went and snatched Kolfage out of his home.
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. It just really is. It's something that's it's got to be
Remember
fixed.
the timing of that. That was the beginning, the day that President Trump's the RNC, the National Convention for the Republicans, was starting that day.
Can you imagine how he feels? I bet he's just furious. We're going to adjust the schedule a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen. Your weekly jihad report: 48 jihad attacks, 150 killed, 75 injured, 4 suicide blasts, all occurring 19 years later in 15 countries. The religion of peace atrocity of the week was the same as last week. And other recent misunderstandings of Islam. On the 11th in Somalia, a rival mosque is the target of a Shaheed suicide bomber who sends 3 worshippers straight to Allah. On the 9th, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, 35 villagers are hacked, stabbed, and shot to death by Islamists. On the 9th, in Pakistan, a transgender, boy, there's a dumb dude, a transgender in Pakistan. A transgender activist is brought down in a hail of bullets. On the 9th, in Somalia, a suicide bomber walks into a restaurant and takes out 3 patrons in mid-bite. On the same day, in Afghanistan, 10 civilians are reduced to pulp by Taliban roadside bombers. On the 8th, in Yemen, 2 children are killed when Ansar Allah pepper the neighborhood with mortars. The religion of peace, ladies and gentlemen, one body at a time.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.
President Donald Trump on Friday spoke at the Flight 93 Memorial in Pennsylvania, honoring the Americans who lost their lives on 9/11/2001, fighting back against terrorists. The heroes of Flight 93 are an everlasting reminder. No matter the danger, no matter the threat, no matter the odds, America will always rise up, stand tall, and fight back, Trump said. And, Jack, I would apply that to the internal disturbances that are going on in this country. They did not let up one single bit. I'm just highly surprised that somebody in the Biden campaign didn't blame 9/11 on Trump.
Yeah, it's amazing the level that the Democrats are stooping to try and win the election. They're trying to pin anything negative. Like we'll hear later on, one of my losers is the Democrats and the mainstream media who carry the water for their campaign.
It's horrible.
And what they tried to do with the release of that Woodward book. I mean, you could sit there and shake your head and say, damn it, President, why in the hell did you agree to even talk to this guy? He showed his colors early in, but, he's given him, he's a famous author and he's blah, blah, blah. And, he
trusted Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham told him to do it. Yeah. I mean, that's out. Graham's even said that. These people,
and look what they did.
You got to wonder what they don't have very long vision. I mean, what do they think's going to happen at the end of this? Do they think that we're all just going to give up and we're all just going to live a socialist life? I mean, they must feel that way. They're certainly doing a number on our children. We lost one generation. We're in the process of losing another to college.
Yeah, I think we are the last people. Those folks that have been in power that are still trying to hold and maintain power. Don't even consider the patriots that voted Trump in. They're doing their very best right now just to buy enough cover and to piss off maybe enough people to where they won't vote in November.
Not going to
and
work.
Steal
Not
it
gonna
back.
work.
But I don't think, hey, you look everywhere that the president's going, even during this COVID-19 and all of this, he can't do rallies like you said last week. It's all, peaceful protests. And there's nothing better than a President Trump peaceful protest going on right now.
No, I mean, you look at it and people are happy. You contrast the two different worlds, and anybody with an ounce of intelligence that's not totally brainwashed, and there are so many that are brainwashed. They live all around me. I mean, there are people out there that think Joe Biden is a viable candidate for president of the United States, and that shows you how stupid a large portion of the Democrat constituency is. I mean, it's right in front of your face, man. I mean, no Republican would vote for a Republican Joe Biden.
Just remember when they were just having the Democratic debates where they were pumping up Buttigieg, Indiana, all the boom, boom. And at that time, even the leftist media were looking at Biden and saying, there's no way in hell that he's going to be
Right.
and then even during the end of last year, the beginning of this year, when the impeachment was going on and the very beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, mainstream media was looking at Governor Cuomo and saying,
Yeah.
he's the one we want to represent us against Trump. Remember that? People,
It's unreal. It absolutely. I wonder, especially the people that run the company, I wonder what they think is going to happen after this. Do they think that they're just going to continue to be the voice of America? And I got something coming along down the line about Google and big tech, but you're still never going to suppress the voice of Americans. You might think you are, and you might have some periods where people get nervous and are afraid to talk. But, ladies and gentlemen, if we ever lose our fire to be Americans, the communists will never defeat us. The only way that we'll fall into their sphere is if we surrender to them. Never forget that. It's very important. And I would say Wednesday night's episode is very lightly listened to. And that was one of the most important episodes, I think, that we ever did. You need to go, if you didn't listen to Wednesday nights, find some time during tomorrow or later on or whatever and try to catch it, because this military-industrial complex answers a lot of questions that you may have about why people are acting the way they do. And that's why, like I said at the beginning of the show, why I feel so betrayed, because, I started digging into that and I started looking on my own experience in the military, and the government is set up to protect contractors. It's unbelievable. I don't know how much you got into, the different.
That was the rotational schedule. I mean, it being, I was a technician in the Guard. I wasn't in the reserve. I was in the National Guard in Virginia, and I had to be in the Guard to have my full-time job.
Same as me.
From a tool part attendant to wheeled vehicle mechanic, but I had to be both, right? Which is the same thing that you were.
Sure.
But you would see, I mean, in the units that I was associated with, when we had a lot of upgrades going on to vehicles and such, the main contractor that was doing the work on the vehicles that I was associated with was a place called BAE Systems.
Right. Yep.
Huge. I think they're doing a lot
out of
of
York.
armored.
Out of York, Pennsylvania. They were BMY. They actually invented the M88. But
They were doing all kinds of. You're talking about an erector set on a Humvee, modifying and upgrading and changing and doing all these things. They were making money hand over fist. But that was one of the venues. If you were working in that genre and you wanted to get out, it was pretty simple segue.
If you go from $25,000 a year to $150,000 a year, and you don't have to be in the Army.
Right.
So all the losers left.
Yeah. Even if it was just some simple functional change into a vehicle, say that, and you could be an instructor to go to the units and basically teach them, right, how to operate our
absolutely.
equipment. Boom.
And then when you get into the service, when you get into them actually performing maintenance on the equipment, they had another unit, the AFSB, the Army Field Sustainment Brigade, I believe they were called, and they were the ones that I had to talk to as a one-star command. I couldn't talk to the contractor. So you've got this other Army agency that lives, eats, and breathes with these contractors. Now he's their buddy, right? And I got to fight him to get my stuff fixed right. And they hated me because I was one of the only ones that fought him. You know, it used to infuriate me.
That's like going beyond the contract. You've already got a built-in
protector,
first level maintenance thing built in. Okay, you got the contract to do this to the vehicles or the equipment, but at the same time, once they're complete, you have to still touch with our repair or maintenance guys and consult with us, which means they're still getting money, right?
Oh, horrible
to get things done. So.
And when you go, they had their own proprietary maintenance computer system. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't just look on my computer and see the status of all my convoy protected platforms. That's not the word for it, but anyway, whatever. I can't remember. It's been a while ago.
You need to make sure that you're looking at what is your readiness for.
Right. I had to take their word for it because they had a proprietary unit, and I even told them, "Look, I'll give you a Sam's box." No. I looked up the board of directors, all retired officers, all of them. It's just
that's all secret stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got to get my readiness from you, and you're like, no, you don't get it from me. I need to get it from them first before I can give it to you.
That's a fact too. It's true. It's crazy. All right, here we go.
Keep America great. Come on, America, time to get on board. Come on, America, time to get on board. Trump is taking back our country. I say praise the Lord. He's draining the swamp in Washington, D.C., restoring freedom to you and me.
Trump train!
Can you hear the whistle sound?
Trump train!
We're boots on the ground.
Trump train!
Don't you feel the engines roar?
Trump train!
Kick social the door. He brought back jobs. They said it couldn't be done. He's making deals to keep us number one. Trump has heard your urgent call, keeping his promise to build the wall.
We will live by the words of our national
sad day, ladies and gentlemen. Lloyd Marcus, unhyphenated American. This is by Mary Marcus. Suddenly stricken by a pulmonary embolism, Lloyd joined his Lord and Savior the day after he and his devoted wife, Mary Ann Milliken Parker Marcus, celebrated their 43rd wedding anniversary. In the previous week, the couple had returned from campaigning on the West Coast. Tests revealed no presence of COVID-19. In addition to his beloved wife, Mary, Lloyd leaves daughter Lisa Marie A. Marcus, Roni, and son, Timothy Billy Parker, April, as well as granddaughter Moir Parker. Lloyd was preceded in death by his parents, Reverend Dr. Lloyd E. and Rodell Miss Tilly Jackson Marcus Jr., as well as his younger brother Vernon Marcus. Lloyd is survived by one sister, 3 brothers, 5 sisters-in-law, 3 brothers-in-law, 3 aunts, as well as numerous nephews, nieces, cousins, and countless friends. Often those closest to Lloyd called him by the family nickname of Peanut, and they, with all those who loved Lloyd, will forever mourn the loss of his giant smile and warm wisdom that was always delivered with unconditional acceptance. You can read Lloyd Marcus, Unhyphenated American, the complete obituary at the American Thinker. Rest in peace, Lloyd, you were a friend. Jackie was one of the original Tea Party members, a black man, and a columnist at the American Thinker. I even sent him an email one day, and he answered me with a long response. A great guy, man. Always, high spirits, always looking at the good of things, and finally convinced his Democrat father before he died to see the light. It was an amazing story, and I'm going to miss the guy.
I am too, and reading that pre-show, it drew me in to find that song that he and the folks had put together for this year's re-election campaign, and that was the Lord pushing me that way because I enjoyed the song. It's like a revival type deal, high energy, positivity, and it's something that we're missing a lot this year in 2020. So
I agree with you. You'll hear that again too, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be on the rotation. That's an uplifting song. And I was shocked. I was shocked when I was preparing for the show and I saw that, and I thought it was just well, I saw the obituary, so I knew right away. But, at first when I saw it, I thought it was another column. Every week or so, Lloyd would come out with a column, and it was just stunning. I mean, that happens every now and then. What are you going to do? It's sad that, he only recently lost his father. It seemed like a little too fast. I don't know, man, but he worked. He worked hard.
The unhyphenated American, and it's so simple. Just the thought of that. Think if everyone, all of us Americans, looked at each other as just plain Americans, right?
Yeah.
Why have we let politics and why have we let the folks that run the federal government put down on paper to basically divide us? You fill an application out for the federal government, it's going to want to know which little cubby hole to put yourself in. Why can't we just be Americans? Right?
Because we'd be too dangerous to them, I think. I think especially what I said earlier about the genie's out of the bottle now. Everybody knows. Everybody that means anything knows. There are people that are hiding, behind Dancing with the Stars and whatever. But I got to tell you, just watching my own wife go from she's no activist, don't get me wrong, but she's well aware of what's going on now, and she was not before. I try to talk to her. I'm sure I'm not the only one in this boat, but I try to talk to her about political items or whatever, and she just shut me down, man. She'd start reading or, walk away or whatever, but it's so obvious now.
Immediately. Huh?
Immediately, yeah. And I don't blame her. It's much easier to operate that way.
It's a daily grind, and I'm sure that our folks, our loyal listeners and the folks that tune in regularly, the folks that know, this is this takes a lot out of you to sit there and
Yeah.
and tune in into this every day. But as long as you go into it knowing that you're going to save yourself time for the positive, you're going to always, you're going to expect negative, read it, understand it, and just know where the enemy's at today. But you always save yourself them time to enjoy the day, enjoy your freedom, enjoy being an American. If you don't, it's going to take you out. So
No, you're right.
Always give yourself some time to enjoy being.
And stop watching the news. Stop watching the cable news. I haven't watched cable news, and it's so much easier just to go to the internet. I know where the cable news is. I know where to go there if I want to find them. I've got some clips from there tonight. But, if you sit there and watch it, you're just going to get mad.
Yeah.
It's all it is. And it's sad. But, when you have the people saying what they are about the president, when here's the real story. President Donald Trump announced, I think this says expected to announce, I think he announced it already, an historic peace agreement between Bahrain and Israel today in the White House on the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on America. This comes less than a month after President Trump announced the historic peace agreement between Israel and the UAE back on August 13th. President Trump was nominated this week twice for the Nobel Peace Prize. A member of the Norwegian parliament, Christian Tybring-Gjedde.
Wait for Trump? Is that who that was?
Well,
No, I'm just, we got our own Viking.
there you go. Nominated President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize on Wednesday after Trump successfully accomplished a peace deal between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. On Friday, President Trump again was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, this time by Magnus Jacobson, for his historic Kosovo-Serbia peace agreement, and it's not even really in the news. This
Nope, and that's
is
a damn
better.
shame right
This is
there.
historic. This is better than any other president in our history. I mean, this guy has almost, now be prepared for bombings and things like that, but he has almost solved this problem. After all these neocons didn't want to solve it because then the wars had stopped. I mean, this guy is magnanimous, man. I mean, I heard yesterday that the Saudis, whoever's hosting one of these things, put kosher food on the menu. There's airlines that have never seen airports on the other side that are landing. This is huge. It's absolutely huge.
For it to happen that quickly, right? I mean, just after the United Arab Emirates, and I'm looking at the map there, and I'm thinking, hopefully, you got Oman, another smaller nation there. But then, if this turns into a tidal wave type situation across the region, right? Because
it is.
If you think about it, the folks that live in that whole area have to be tired as we are of the war, because the wars have been going on over there, right?
And if you look at historic pictures of Beirut and other cities and port, because a lot of them are port cities, they were beautiful.
Yeah.
They used to call Beirut I forget what they called it, but it was like the Riviera of the Middle East is what they called it.
You look at what the 50s, Iran. After
sure.
post-war, the way they did this, but to get to my point, if we can get if they can continue this, and then Oman comes in there, so you have Oman, UAE, Bahrain. You already have the Saudi Arabia allowing the flights, right? The commercial flight from Israel to the UAE across Saudi. So if you can get Saudi and then get Egypt back on that, because Egypt was the first one with Anwar Sadat in that way back when.
Right.
You got Egypt and Saudi Arabia into this deal, boom. I mean, you're talking a major change in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
And hopefully it can just be a trading partner deal, and we can have our troops home, right?
And let's not pretend that this just happened because they like Trump. I told you 3 years ago that one of the most amazing things that President Trump has done in foreign and international diplomacy is he's added an economic team to it. Before any of this happened, the thing that happened that made it possible is the United States of America became energy independent. If that wouldn't have happened, this wouldn't have happened. He's using leverage, ladies and gentlemen. This is not everybody be nice and kumbaya thing. This is war. And he's doing it right. And the neocons, the Bushes, the everybody, the Reagans, all of them, none of them ever did that. He's the first guy that took his economic staff and made them field marshals. And this is what you get. But what else we get is we get the left in this country. This is from Anthony Salvatore Sr. This was my daughter's humanities teacher, Professor Janet Gula, on the second day of class at Suffolk County Community College.
4 years, because that's what people say. Give him a chance, give him a chance. Well, he's had 4 friggin' years of a chance, and he's done a crap job, and he's really ruining our country. Many of you, this may be the first time that you're voting. I'm sorry, it's such a contentious situation that you're being thrusted into. If any of you do still think Trump, is a good person, I beg you to not only go into your heart center and think about this a little more, pull up all the stuff that he's been doing to our country, taking away so many of our rights. He's trying to turn this into more of a, dictatorship type of situation. But with voting, if you want to register to vote,
we don't stand a chance if we don't fix that.
That's a teacher.
That's a professor.
That's a college professor?
A college professor of humanities. After what I just read, and she says that to your kids. And they don't get to see it on the media or Yahoo News or YouTube. This is a dangerous, dangerous situation. And I have a feeling, I really do. I pray to God the man wins big. But I have a feeling that the education system is coming under fire next. And because he has to know this. He has to know this. It's unbelievable.
No Child Left Behind converted into Communist Corps. Remember that over that whole...
Sure.
So we're talking like the 19 years. That's what's happened to the education of the children during this 19 years. No Child Left Behind, and then Communist Corps, Common Core, where 1 + 1 is 11. Acceptable answer, folks.
Critical race theory. I mean, the whole white guilt thing. It's
the entire thing is being exposed now.
It is. You're not. The genie's not going back in the bottle.
How much focus has there been on, until President Trump was elected and put into office? It was always something going on with the Taliban, ISIS, ISIL, Al Qaeda, this, whatever name, and then all the multiple offshoot names of groups in certain countries, all the way to the Philippines at one point. And then President Trump got in there, wiped out ISIS, and basically took out a couple of the top dogs that were allowed to roam free and kill and maim our people that were serving.
Al-Baghdadi and Soleimani.
Soleimani, right. Took them out. And now you really haven't heard that much. The only thing you hear is more news that President Trump is wanting to bring folks home.
There's a good article. There's a good article in Breitbart, I think it's by Nolte, that basically says, did Donald Trump end the terrorism? And he goes on to say how before the Trump administration, we were thinking about Islamic Jihad attacks all the time.
Right.
And I was, and I'm sure everybody was. And now you don't even think about it anymore. That's another big thing.
It's not, right. It's like, and it started from the get-go where former President Obama, his first deal to the Middle East was an apology tour and then bowing to the Arabs that were funding the terrorists, and then ended by shipping a pallet full of money and cash and giving them Iran back $150 billion that was, frozen from the hostage situation.
Right. And thank you, Republican Senator Bob Corker, for that. We appreciate that.
Corker did. And you compare that to what President Trump's done. His first thing was he met with all the leaders of the region. And at the conclusion of that, there was a warrior sword dance.
It was nuts, man. Yeah.
It was like, hey, and basically, I guess after this going into a re-election year, you can say that Trump basically went there and said, hey, we don't want to be here. I want to get my folks out of here. We want you to be able to do what you do, but there's one bad apple here, and you all know who it is. I can get out of the way, and you guys I'll let you deal with him. And then, it was like a good faith deal. And you see the results of that coming now with the peace agreements coming out, the lower news aspect of actual terrorism coming to this country.
And never forget the Lindsey Grahams and the Liz Cheneys and others and lots of others that chided him for getting out of Syria. H.R. McMaster, General Mattis. I mean, these people wanted this to go on forever. Let's go to King George in Virginia and welcome Ken. Hi, Ken.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Ken, what's up, my brother?
Hey, what's going on, Jack? Now, you were mentioning earlier, well, you didn't mention it, the woman in the clip mentioned it, and I've heard it in a number of other clips, and I've seen it online, where Trump's looking to take away everybody's rights. Well, I've never seen anybody counter that with, okay, well then please explain to me which right in the Constitution he's looking to take away.
My right to kill a baby.
Which isn't even in the Constitution. That was a judicial decision.
Mistake.
And the judicial branch does not make law.
Not supposed to, anyway.
And there are too many stupid people out there that believe that whatever comes out of the Supreme Court, that is the law of the land.
As long as it agrees with them. If it doesn't agree with them, then it's Trump's court.
Yeah, I asked General Flynn. I mean, look at that chaos that's going on in Washington, D.C., That's still going on. The judges are trying to prosecute General Flynn because they refuse to drop the case as requested by the Department of Justice, the ones that are the ones that are supposed to prosecute the case.
Yeah, but see, that wasn't a setup, Jack.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi was set up for going to, a hair salon to get her weave done or whatever the hell. Yeah, that was the true setup right there.
It's unreal.
Michael Flynn getting thrown under the bus by the FBI.
I think it's time for the president to pardon him and jailbreak him, man. I don't know the legalities of it.
He can't touch that before the end of the the election season.
Boy, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a hell of a November.
Right,
After the 3rd,
no matter what happens.
Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a November. I might be up at Camp Vienna.
I hope that people in Virginia actually, pull their head out of their keisters and, our current Attorney General, has just thrown his hat in the ring to run next year, which won't be as popular. You won't have people thinking about elections because, in Virginia we have an election every November. We're voting for something.
Well, when's Northam done? Is he done this year?
I think that's what he's talking about.
No, Northam's not done until 2021.
That's next year.
That's next year. However, Senator Amanda Chase is trying to kind of push. She's hopping on this Trump wave to hopefully keep momentum going into 2021. To still keep people enthused about going out and voting for her to be the next governor. Which, I mean, she'd be an awesome governor, in my opinion. I don't know how Jack feels about that. But.
I don't know. I don't see how any Republican right now. I mean, the way that the Democrats have ever since they got rid of the former Republican governor with the grifter type thing with the payoff when it was his wife.
With the watch, yeah.
Yeah, convicted him, and then they dropped it afterwards, right? But the damage was done.
Yeah, but okay, so you're going to either vote for Amanda Chase or you're going to vote for the current alleged convicted rapist who's now looking to put his,
Well, here's the thing. Anybody who votes for any Democrat, you deserve what you get. It's time to move. If Pennsylvania votes another Democrat in as governor, I'm leaving. I'm not putting up with it. The same way, it's a little harder when it comes to mayor, but when it comes to a governor, after what this governor did and after what your governor's worse than my governor, not by much, but he's worse. A doctor what a savage. But this is where we are. This is where we are. I'm not living around people that would accept somebody like that. I don't care if I've been here 1,000 years.
And the local, Fredericksburg paper, they have gone like completely off the rails left wing. And the only way I follow them is via their online site. But entertainment value for me is to go through the comment section. I screwed up one time and I made a comment to somebody and I'm like,
that's what Word does. Word does that.
And I'm like, I made one comment one time, and it was like this onslaught of people. I'm like, do you people not watch the news? I'm like,
and then did they come back? You're stupid. You're just a Trump robot. It's not even worth it.
Find out where he lives. They're gonna be in his front door.
It's not even worth it.
Hey, well, come on down. I encourage you to come down my dirt road.
Ken? Did you see where Northam's already got his job? Post governor, he was named to be the head of Virginia's clean water, the Bay.
Oh, jeez.
The
yeah. Well, I did hear something about that where they're trying to. Apparently, Governor Wolf isn't doing enough because between the Susquehanna and all, there's a couple other rivers.
That's a different state.
Contribute.
Yeah, but it goes into the Bay. It goes into the Chesapeake.
As far as the Save the Bay deal, it goes all the way up to the Hutch's driveway. That little puddle that shows
up. Indeed, it is nasty. I don't know what you do about it. I mean, it's fertilizer runoff from good farmland. I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
Well, and they've used this the Chesapeake Watershed Act, to enact all sorts of crazy stuff.
There's a sign on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, millions of miles away from all this, about the Chesapeake watershed. It's like, how'd that get way up here? We're in the Laurel Mountains.
Fit in a bay like that, like in Pennsylvania. I don't even have salt water up here, man.
All right, Ken, I got to let you go, man. I gave you a lot of time. I got a bunch of stuff to cover here.
Oh, hey, man, love the show. Well, I know you'll be, since you're on with Jack, we'll be going to 1 o'clock in the morning.
We'll see. Thanks for calling, Ken. I always appreciate it.
Thanks,
all right, brother.
All right, now I want to go to some serious business here. Not that the rest wasn't, but we have several listeners in the area. Deadly wildfires. This is getting bad. Deadly wildfires in heavily populated Northwest Oregon are growing, and hundreds of thousands of people have been told to flee encroaching flames. Evacuate now. Oregon wildfires grow as 500,000 are told to flee. 500,000. Salem, Oregon, from the AP. Deadly wildfires in heavily populated Northwest Oregon were growing, with hundreds of thousands of people told to flee. I hate when I have to read something twice. I should have caught that. While residents to the south tearfully assess their losses, the number of people ordered to evacuate statewide because of fires rose to an estimated 500,000, more than 10% of the state's 4.2 million people, the Oregon Office of Emergency Management reported late yesterday. The number was calculated by determining how many people live in mandatory evacuation zones, said agency spokeswoman Bobby Doan. The Oregon Convention Center in Portland was among the buildings being transformed into shelters for wildfire evacuees. One fire approached Molelia, triggering a mandatory evacuation order for the community of about 9,000, located 30 miles south of Portland. A police car rolled through the streets with a loudspeaker blaring, "Evacuate now." Inmates were being moved from a women's prison less than 1 mile from I-5 in Portland's southern suburbs out of an abundance of caution, the Oregon Department of Corrections said. With two large fires threatening to merge, some firefighters in Clackamas County, which included Molalla, were told to disengage temporarily because of the danger. Officials tried to reassure residents who abandoned their homes, and law enforcement officials said police patrols would be stepped up to prevent looting. And Jack, immediately you see the left blaming it on climate change. I mean, right. It's so sickening. But an additional development, Alameda Fire in Oregon that killed at least 2 is under investigation as arson after body is discovered near the start of the blaze, as National Weather Service reveals 87% of all wildfires this year have been caused by humans. Ashland Police Chief Tig O'Meara announced Thursday a criminal investigation has been opened into the cause of the fire. He said the circumstances around the fire's origin were suspicious. The body of an unidentified individual was found near the origin Wednesday. This comes as NWS data showed that 87% of all 2020 wildfires were human-caused. California is the worst for human-caused fires, with a total of 7,072 in 2020.
Think about that number. 7,072 documented human-created fires in California just this year.
And let's go to the common sense that's trying to be covered up. Oregon officials denied reports spreading on social media that the fires have been deliberately started by the far-left group Antifa, and then they had to add in the far-right group Proud Boys. That's by the Daily Mail. That's not even from the American press. That's some of it's AP, but Rachel Sharp for the Daily Mail. I mean, it would make sense to me, just the way you had fires on the southern border being blamed on different types of people.
It's not like they would destroy cities and start fires.
No, they never did.
There wasn't a video of somebody accidentally catching himself on fire and looking like Michael Jackson in the street last week with his feet on flames.
Somebody put that to Footloose.
I'm sure that was right for somebody to take it and make it funny. I mean, it was funny as it was. But I did. At another website, I looked, and it was like one of the threads was talking about Antifa is causing these, and I was reading through, and there was only one actual. Although there's been a lot of arrests, and maybe Marlene can call in and give us some more information. But there's been quite a few arrests of people caught trying to start or increase the fires in Oregon and Washington State, actually, where I don't know if it's like a copycat deal or people that are just amazed and want the West Coast to burn. But sometimes it does trigger some crazy folks to go out there and add to the problems. But I did watch a video. A guy had sat there and live streamed. He had basically saying he called in the fire on the highway, and by the end of the video, he was the one arrested for creating this fire. I think it was Washington State, and he was also somebody associated with Antifa. He was in Portland a couple weeks ago and filming himself there. So
I don't know. You think Nancy Pelosi was a setup? Let's welcome Marlene to the show.
Hey.
Hey there. I had to chime in about this fire business.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Basically, I know. As far you were saying about the fact that Antifa or somebody might be in on it, I think that might very well be the case down in Medford and Ashland. That's south of me by a hour or two or so, if you look at a map of Oregon. And I was seeing a police video. I don't know what's off of Facebook, but it sounded pretty convincing that the cops were thinking that it could very well have been somebody like that, an Antifa or somebody. I don't want to say literally Antifa, but some idiot probably started that fire down there.
No doubt. I mean, it goes right in line with what they're trying to do. I mean,
exhaust resources, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, the ones that are closest to me, and I heard this from our maintenance guy who he lives in Notai and kind of knows everybody on that. He knows a lot of people like I do in town, and the ones that were closest to me, the ones up to McKenzie, and the one, I think it was up north and right around Salem. Those were due to high winds. Those were not Antifa related. However, the one in Mapleton was. That was a week or two ago, and that was over. That's as you're heading towards Florence on 126 going west.
But high winds don't start a fire. Yeah. They don't start a fire.
Well, it's high winds and low humidity. Right. High winds and low humidity, and it was also some power
It helps to spread one, but you still need to start the fire, right?
You got to have that ignition.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the down power lines came from.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I'm all for the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful it wasn't me, but I was on Facebook earlier with my cousin who lives up in Washington, and communist as they come, but hey, she's family.
Now, can I ask you a question? I know that California has a problem with doing proper forest maintenance as far as controlled burns and all that to take the fuel away.
Yes.
So when the dry season hits, you don't have a lot of stuff ready there to just combust. And, every year we hear these. It's uncontrollable. It's every year, at least for the past 8 years, that California's burning, right? It's not a surprise that it's doing it now. Only thing I have a question is how do they have any fuel left to burn, right? But I didn't know if Oregon manages it different. I know you have a vibrant lumber and timber business that's green.
We do. It's not what it was back in the early 80s when I was in it's not like it used to be, I'll put it that way, back in the late 70s, early 80s. But in general, yes, we do have better forest management, I believe, than in California. We're not perfect,
California, you can't even harvest fallen timber, from what I understand.
You can do that up here.
Even in Virginia, I mean, through the mountainous area, I mean, we love it. It's beautiful, the Blue Ridge and the Appalachians. But being smart, every so often you're going to see the fire breaks built into the side where you have a swath of like a break in the greenery.
They set the fire, sure. They do.
Right.
Which is what they do in Central Oregon. And I was kind of surprised that I don't know if they do that closer down to where I am. You go up to McKenzie on the east on 126. It's about a half-hour drive or so. I don't know if they do the controlled burning and all that so much there, but in Central Oregon, where I lived for a couple of years, they do that there. And so when over there, when fire season hits, they're prepared. It's just a part of everyday life. You just keep all the brush away from your house and everything. It's normal.
And it really, when you look at it, wildfires are an act of God unless they're caused by a human. But there's a reason why it's windy in the spring. It's so, and there's a reason why there's lightning storms in the spring. It's to start the fires.
There's a lot of the ecosystem that's it responds to the cycles of burn and growth.
It's to protect the planet. It's actually to protect the trees. I mean, the whole problem, and I've said this before, is the ladder fuel. It's the fuel between the ground and the first limb of the tree, the mature tree. I'm talking about. And you start when you put pine trees in that equation, which there's lots of them. Those things create their own wind. That's like lighting gasoline. When you start lighting some of those pine trees, I mean, I've been in not major California style fires, but Pennsylvania mountain fires, and we still require the planes. No matter what you do.
They have planes up here too.
Yeah, you're not going to beat God. I mean, you're
not.
You can reduce the risk of fire, but you're not going to eliminate it. It's part of life.
That's true.
It's like old people dying of the flu. It's part of life.
Yeah, and I will admit it's a little unusual, I think, to have fires that close into Eugene and Springfield.
Oh,
usually,
indeed.
like I say, normally the fire season is Central Oregon, Bend, Redmond, all those little places around there. And then you go down south to maybe Roseburg and all the wooded area down in there. They get fires every year. But some of these other ones, the one that was up just shy of the Mackenzie Bridge, coming down into Blue River and Vida and those little places there, that really surprised me. And that really was because of the high winds up there. Power line went down, and next thing you know, kaboom, and everything just started burning.
Yeah.
And it's sad because those towns were just adorable.
So you guys
we used to go there all the time.
I looked at some pictures, Marlene, and it looked like Kenosha.
Yeah. No kidding. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was whole city blocks burned out, it looked like to me. Was I seeing the right?
Yeah.
That's tragic.
These aren't really city blocks. These would be probably the nearest equivalent would be up at your Camp Vienna.
Yeah.
These are little tiny towns right along the Mackenzie River. And
I guess
city
blocks wasn't the right thing.
They're not even blocks. They're just little
groups
towns.
Of houses, right?
Decimated.
That's sad, man. But you guys are okay. You and John are doing all right.
Yeah, John and I. He's fine. And I was a little worried about him, but no, we're doing fine. John, as far as I know, is doing good. The only thing is, you still have that hazy, smoky, stinky stuff outside. And we thought it was going to go away today, but nope. It's looking like probably Monday.
Well, I'm sure the president will be out there. I mean, I'm sure you'll get federal assistance soon, if you haven't already.
Oh, actually, Frau Brown is actually, I can't stand calling her by her right name.
Frau
Brown is already, or Fraulein, I don't know which one. But anywho, she has already asked for assistance. And that wouldn't surprise me, but it would be, I tell you though, it would be so awesome if Trump did come out. I don't know whether he will, because when he came to Eugene in 2016, and it was my first rally, there were a bunch of idiots out there out at our fairgrounds. They were acting like a bunch of dumbasses, which figures, protesting this, that, and the other thing. And so I don't know whether he's going to come or not, but I don't doubt that he will at least give us, the states some assistance, because it's a lot worse up north, and it is.
I'm
what
sure.
you were talking about sounds to me like up north, and even on the north coast up in Lincoln City, they're having to evacuate up there too.
No, they need to take the prisons.
Lincoln City's a beautiful area. That north coast is gorgeous.
They need to empty the prisons and put them out there with fire rakes. It won't be the first time.
Exactly.
All right, Marlene.
Yeah, they should.
You keep your head down out there, all right? Pay attention and let us know if you need anything. All right, thanks for calling.
Safe.
I will.
Have a great weekend.
Okay.
God bless.
Okay.
Marlene from Eugene, Oregon.
Rough go of it. Usually we just hear that is California's burning, but right now it's almost the entire West Coast that's having, to fight these fires.
Well, like you said, 7,000 fires, man. I mean, who counts those?
Just in California alone this year.
They've turned into a third world country. I mean, they don't even have electric. I mean,
We heard what, right? The major one in California, they say that was caused by a gender reveal for a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, have we gotten this far that you just can't basically send a card out or call or have
you gotta have fireworks
conference call or do an Uber conference call?
Because you know what it was. Dad was like, "It's a boy, fire!" Fool, lit the fireworks off.
We gonna light the joint up. I mean, come on.
All right.
Nobody. I mean, everybody knows now, but.
This is a fast-paced show, Jack. You got to keep up, man. We're going to the NFL. Going to the NFL. The NFL ratings crash over 16% for the woke season opener. The ratings dive amounts to a 10-year low for the NFL and NBC. Oh, I'm so sad. On a field bordered with the words "end racism" and fans booing as players from both teams linked arms before kickoff in a sign of solidarity.
Thank you.
You hear that little bit of cheering at the end. That's when they all let go of each other. Linked arms before kickoff in a sign of solidarity with those fighting social injustice. The ratings and viewership decline could be an ominous sign for a league, and the network's deadline reports. The stellar numbers of last year's opener, the Green Bay Packers grinding 10-3 victory over the Chicago Bears, kicked off a tightly run season that seemingly had reversed years of weakening numbers. Now it could be a case of deja vu all over again. And like I said, the Kansas City Chiefs fans booed the NFL's racial justice theme, Moment of Unity, before last night's season kickoff. That Mahomes, he was sitting there, he couldn't believe it. He was looking around, he couldn't believe they were booing. These people are idiots.
I heard a little bit of this. Even the Chiefs said that their fans could not, dress up with a headdress or face paint or anything like that to cheer on their team.
They're killing their industry, man.
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know how much money I've saved over the last 4 years by not purchasing any NFL merchandise?
Oh, me too, man.
I mean, I was huge. And
I paid for tickets. I paid for tickets. I went to games.
Oh, you were, yeah. So
I was a season ticket holder. I was a season ticket holder for the Pirates for 5 or 6 years. Not the whole season, but a partial season. I worked. I couldn't go to every game.
Think about what you've been able to do with that money that was, not like you were, begrudgingly supporting the teams. It was something.
It was part of my life.
Good football. You wanted to support your football team or basketball. Not so much. Hockey team, whatever.
No, not basketball for me. Never basketball.
But you would do it willingly. The ones that you supported.
Oh, indeed, sure.
You get the jersey. You get the hat. And like you did, you were a season ticket holder for the team itself.
In my bar,
that's a lot of money.
When I took everything down in my bar that was Pittsburgh sports oriented, there's almost nothing left. You know what I mean? I mean, that was what it was. It was. I mean, I used to have 20 people over to watch games.
Now you got plenty of room to put in your own still.
Yeah, now I'm thinking. I don't know about that. I made some pickled beets.
Oh, wait! I didn't say that. I just say
that's actually one of my future endeavors in the back of my mind. Yeah. I've done everything else.
You're allowed to.
No, you're not. not liquor. Maybe in your state, not here. I think it's federal. I think that's federal. You can make beer and wine.
They sell moonshine at the ABC store now.
Yeah, I know they do, but they're allowed because they're government sanctioned. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it's a shame, man. They're ruining an industry, and they're so foolish. I listened to Rush Limbaugh today, and he made the excellent point that what's going on with the people in the marketing division of the NFL? They're still have convinced themselves that it's COVID that's keeping people away from the games. They're that stupid.
Nah.
Football fans aren't afraid of a little bit of Rona. At least not Steeler fans aren't. And I don't know.
See, one thing that I've been noticing though, because I do watch baseball. I'm watching, I have the game up on another monitor right now of the Nationals, but I've been watching the baseball. The folks in baseball, the players themselves. You looking at a lot of folks that feel like they're blessed to be able to play professional sports in the United States. They come from Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, oppressed areas. Places
In 1979, the Pirates fielded the first team in the history of Major League Baseball that there was not a white man on the starting rotation. In 79. We've been
That's a World Series. We are family, right?
Yeah. I think it was 79. Yeah. But there was one year when they everybody on the team, there wasn't one white guy. There was white guys on the team. But I mean the starting rotation, the ace rotation, there was no white guys. We've been opening doors for I'm a much bigger Pirate fan and Steeler fan, and that's hard to say, but it was true. And now I haven't watched one game, and I'm not watching them again until they kill this. I'm not doing it. Not one ounce of my.
Like the American dream for these baseball players, even folks from Cuba, to get to the
especially
United
folks
States
from Cuba
and play in the Major League Baseball system. I don't see. If I see anything, I see like, what the hell is going on in this country? Do you realize how good you have it here? You know,
it's these leftists, man. It's
they just celebrated one of your favorite players, Roberto Clemente,
Bobby.
You know, and he was actually back home in his country trying to help relief efforts when he passed away. Right?
Well, close. He was on his way. What country was it? It wasn't Puerto Rico. He was going to another South American country that just got nailed by a hurricane and everything, and he was in a half-assed plane. Yes, right? He was on a plane with relief supplies, and the plane crashed in the ocean. It was horrible. I remember the day. It was one of those things that you remember in your life, you know. And it was right after he hit his 3,000th hit.
3,000th hit.
Yeah.
Not long after Pittsburgh won the World Series, you know.
Yeah, that guy, he helped to end racism, really, actually. I've talked about that before.
There's no way, because if you look today, racism is like prevalent. I'm like, you guys don't even know. Think about when we were growing up.
No, I know.
And earlier, I mean, and it's like a slap in the face to those folks that fought to end racism. And what these folks on the left are doing now to this country, it's a damn shame.
No, it is. Let's go to Kentucky and welcome Rico to the show.
Hey, what's going on?
Rico, what's in the glass tonight?
I'm sick, so I can't drink much.
Uh-oh. NyQuil?
I don't know if I got COVID or not, but I got it.
Uh-oh.
I want to know what happened during Black National Anthem versus the National Anthem. I want to know if there was any drama there.
I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I heard that one team stayed in the locker room, but I'm not
sure.
For
the Black National Anthem or the National Anthem?
I think for both.
Oh,
I think I read it. It was they couldn't decide what to do, so they just stayed off the field. So one team was out there doing one thing, and the other one was basically off. But you know, I don't know. How do you feel about it, Rico? Having to have politics and social issues deal with what was once the number one, side
Look,
deal
it's all about,
for Americans.
It's all about entertainment, just like a movie, right? You're at a movie to escape. That's the same thing with football, right? Same thing with basketball. You're out there to escape, okay? Even though LeBron James, before all this happened and stuff like that, was still being somewhat political, I can deal with the side stuff, but now it's inundated. It's everywhere. And I'm watching a baseball game right now, but I'm not watching it. It's just on the television,
Right.
So I don't pay attention to it. I just got it on the screen.
So they're getting ratings, man. You know what I mean? I don't even turn the TV on.
I saw
want to.
One photo from a basketball game, and it's like the jersey has a message on. Each person has some kind of social message where their name used to be. So
the thing is, the coaches and everybody else have to fall in line. Otherwise, you're probably going to get fired.
No, you're right, man. And a lot of it comes. I don't think baseball so much, but I'm not sure. But it comes from.
There's no BLM on the mound right now.
The players, but the players, the owners are kind of in between a rock and a hard place in a little way. I mean, because if you don't keep the players happy, I mean, there's only so many people that can play in the NFL. That's not a normal thing that a normal person can do. I mean, I've even heard that, most people think of the contact when it comes to that, but I've heard that the vast majority of American men could never catch a pass from an NFL quarterback. It's just too fast. And
even on my best day, I would have a hard time with it.
Right, exactly. I mean,
even if I had the speed, but
But I mean, just being able to absorb the ball in your body without it popping out. I mean, it's amazing how fast
the
they throw.
velocity is too quick for.
And they say that hitting a major league fastball is almost humanly impossible. So
that's why they got called the major leagues.
Exactly. But if those guys aren't happy, you're not going to have a league. But now you're not going to be able to pay those guys.
Right, you're going to go bankrupt.
And they should.
That's what's going to happen.
And they should.
No ratings.
And then look at
advertising dollars.
And where are the stadiums? In Democrat-controlled cities, and they've given them loans to build these stadiums, which is the most asinine thing I ever heard.
Taxpayer money.
But I can tell you, our stadiums are all funded by taxpayers. The Steelers and the Pirates and the Penguins. I mean, it's like a joint effort, but there's a lot of.
Well, it is a big lift to the economy when you got a stadium there.
If people are in it,
or a couple of teams, yeah.
If people are in it.
Well, it's not just that. It's all the restaurants around the city. It's something to go look at. I mean, there's a lot more going on than just the stadium.
No, I agree. And this is self-destruction because I'll take you back to the videos you saw the other day of the old couple that's down in downtown Pittsburgh at our restaurants. Nobody's going to these restaurants anymore. You got to be out of your mind. You got to sit outside.
The greatest pacifier they have built over
a
long period of time. You're talking about trying to be number one, be the champion, have support for the teams, build the stadiums, have the restaurant, and a distraction from what these criminals have been doing to us in Washington, D.C. for the past 50 years.
Well said.
They're destroying it now, right?
I mean, look at what they do look at what they used to do. In Washington with the Redskins, they used to dress up as pigs and things like that, in big mama suits and things like that. And then you go all the way to the other side of the continent with Oakland. They're dressing up like freaking road warriors and stuff like that. I mean,
you go to the Atlanta Braves, everybody's doing a tomahawk chop, and you go to the Steelers, everybody's got a hard hat on. I mean, it's crazy, man.
Cheese heads,
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know, man, but we're going to have to get through it.
Yeah, Detroit wants to start fights. Yeah,
I don't know. Pretty soon, you never know, because I'll tell you one thing. If the NFL does go bankrupt, there'll still be football. Some other entrepreneur will start another league. I mean, they're going to be out. They're going to be out.
Yep.
It's my opinion.
They're going to start all over, and salaries are going to be 30, 40 grand. In the beginning, and then it's just going to rise and rise.
It serves them right, man. Serves them right. Let them suffer. Hope they starve.
I do have one last thing to say. I have noticed during all these black people are getting killed by white police officers, the vast majority of them are felons. Didn't you notice that?
Well, yeah, I did. And all I would say there is that this is just my opinion. Be careful that you don't get played. because this is an organized movement. This is not your average black American citizen raising up against the police. This is a well-orchestrated, if you look back at the tactics of Nazi Germany, you can almost see the exact same thing. Defund the local police. Now, they used Jews because they didn't have any black people, very few.
Mm-hmm.
And they pitted people against each other, and it worked like a champ. They pitted the communists against the SA and the Jews, and defunded the police, confiscated weapons, and you saw what happened. Don't get played. That's all I'm saying. The people I grew up with, yes, try to do your best to take it out, because
take race out of the equation and come up with statistics like the majority of people that have been confronted by police officers in the United States have committed a crime. Those who haven't committed a crime have less interactions with police officers in a violent manner.
Yeah.
Say what?
You know, and the reason I'm saying that, Rico, seriously, is because I got caught up in that myself, and I had to shake myself out of it. I was like, when I saw that happen in Pittsburgh, my initial feeling was racial. But then when I stood back a little bit, I looked at the black people that were committing this stuff, and this is going to be a shock to you maybe, unless you listen to Officer Tatum or the Hodge twins. But if you look at the people that are actually perpetrating this that are black, they're either transgender, lesbian, they're not normal black people. The ones that are actually the loudest with the microphones, that had the megaphones. You look at them. That guy was in a woman's dress, a woman's blouse. The female that drank the beer, half her head was shaved off. I mean, you look at the people that started the movement, the BLM movement, they're lesbians. You look at their manifesto, and it's to destroy the nuclear family. And now we have Cuties coming out from Netflix, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But
I do remember the BLM being associated with a leader called McKisson or something, and he was living in Baltimore in a white neighborhood in a millionaire's house, who just happened to be a huge supporter of Hillary Clinton at the time in the 2016 election season. So
this is cultural Marxism. This is cultural Marxism.
Right.
They're using the race card against us. And I damn near fell for it.
If you donate to BLM, it goes to Act Blue, and then a lot of that money gets funneled into the Biden campaign. And it's no accident.
Or you go to Antifa.com. Go ahead.
Antifa.com. It goes right to JoeBiden.com. You could do it right now. I did it earlier. Try it out.
I can't believe they keep that up. I mean, they got busted 3 weeks ago for that. Anyway, Rico, you hang in there, brother, all right?
I will, man.
Hope you get better soon, man.
Yeah,
all right.
Get well soon. Man.
All right. So now, speaking of the $1 million house, we've seen that a bunch of people have been arrested. They're starting to arrest these fools. So now people are going to start to talk because they're pussies, one and all. They are. I mean, there's not a whole lot of tough guys that are out there. I want you to listen to Laura Ingraham and her report from last night.
White Americans are waking up to the privilege that they've had and saying that this is not right.
Do your learning. Like, stop your privilege getting in the way for you to work with us for our liberation.
I think it's particularly important that they understand that.
That's Chelsea Clinton right there.
White children of privilege, because I want them to erode that privilege throughout their lives.
I want you to meet one of the products of that kind of woke upbringing. Her name is Clara Kraber, a white 20-year-old whose parents, one of whom is a Columbia University professor, own a $1.8 million New York City home and a second one in Connecticut. Now, Clara reportedly attends Rice University, where tuition, room and board, is a whopping $65,000 a year, nearly 60% more than the average black family makes in a year. all of which Clara apparently reviles because she's decided to help Black Lives Matter Marxists trash New York City in the name of racial justice. So how does vandalizing businesses actually help Black Americans? Well, I doubt even a committed anarchist like Clara would know the answer to that. All she seems to know is that she needs to atone for her privilege by destroying America. And she's not alone. The left has a long, illustrious history of convincing rich, college-educated kids to go out and commit crimes. So what do today's revolutionaries look like? Well, NYPD released mugshots of Clara and 6 other comrades who were arrested last weekend after allegedly going on a storefront window smashing spree in the Flatiron District. 5 of Clara's partners in crime reportedly also have privileged backgrounds. First, there's Frank Furmeister, a 30-year-old ad man who currently owns a stately home in the Beacon Hill neighborhood. He was charged with rioting and possession of a graffiti instrument. Then there's Adi Sragovich, a 20-year-old student at the $72,000 a year Sarah Lawrence College. After she lost her phone rioting, her mother quickly bought her a new one. Got to make sure she can Instagram all the storefronts she destroys and smashes, I guess. And then there's Claire Severine, is a fashion model, and her comrade at arms, Etkar Surratt, used to summer in Europe. How lovely. And finally, there's Elliot Rucka, the son of famous comic book writers, both of whom have TV deals. So do these sound like revolutionaries to you, or just privileged, educated kids hell-bent on punishing the rest of the country over this concept they learned of white guilt? They didn't get there this way on their own, of course. They're just products of bad parenting, bad schooling, and a poisonous ideology that's been propagated by the left for decades. One that for many years has peddled the idea that America is just a vile, racist, and irredeemable country that needs to be torn down and remade. And now we're seeing the fruits of the left's labor of hate.
And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to steelcityresistance.com and click on the Video 2 page at the top, you can see the video with those mugshots. Jack, I was stunned when I... because I saw the picture and I'm reading it and then I listened to it. And that last one, I thought she was pretty cute, but it was a guy. I'm telling you, man, this is backwards. These people,
the optometrist or something.
I mean, I'm not saying super cute, but hey, I thought she was female. I thought he was female.
Show and thinking about it's been 19 years and you have that much time. And you have people that are just out of high school, hitting college, that basically would have had no clue of the impact that we had with 9/11. They've taken that whole generation and turned it into a weapon against our founding principles of this country.
No, you're absolutely right, man. They have. Ladies and gentlemen, 412-206-6208. If you'd like to call into the show. I think that this is embedded. I told you, well, I don't know if I told you, but I broadcasted the fact years ago that the Pittsburgh public schools did not teach 9/11 until, let's see, that was 01, until 2010, till 2011, 10 years. Before it was part of the curriculum. It was that damaging to their, grand plans. But when you see things going on like are going on today, when Jake Tapper where is he from? CNN, actively contacts Sean Parnell, who's running in a district in Pennsylvania against Connor Lamb, to run in a different district, actually campaigning, politicking, and he's in the media, and you see them all doing it. You saw Candy Crowley destroy Mitt Romney. This. Oh, they think they're so much smarter than we are. They look at us, they loathe us, Jack. They loathe the military, unless you're H.R. McMaster.
I mean, it's one thing that what is it? The fourth estate,
Yeah.
the ones that put the check on the check and balances that was supposedly built into our federal government, and then you had the media, or the folks that report, and that a lot of times in the early days they were the sleazy ones, crawling through sewers and getting information and all that stuff for the people. They've completely sold out, just like the original appearances and the wins for unions, right? To get a fair wage for folks back in the day where they didn't pay them nothing. You had child labor in the United States back then too. Ugly things, and the union would fight, and the union leaders would be in work clothes dealing with politicians. As soon as the union guys were in three-piece suits, drinking high-priced scotch and eating cracked crab and lobster with the politicians, you knew that they've gone too far, right?
Right.
They've sold out, and now the media has sold out. Who is there for the Americans? It's us. It is just us now.
That's a fact, and we're bigger than they are. We're bigger than their corporations are. I think one of the worst capitulations is with the Chinese communists, and the sad part about it is we fund the Chinese Communist Party. Everything that the Chinese Communist Party does in this world is because of American consumers. Because we have to have that flat screen TV from China.
And you had the candidate Joe Biden the other day said, "I want China to grow.
Yeah,
I want China to grow."
You've been feeding them for 40 years.
And I'm like, "Are you serious?"
He is. They're all, and don't underestimate the money grubbing pigs in the Republican Party either, because they're getting paid. The whole U.S. Chamber of Commerce scheme that funded the Republican Party for decades is all about China and India. By Mike Lee. Mike Lee, that's for you out in Utah.
Yeah. And Biden.
And Biden.
The former Republican Michigan governor, when Biden was there the other day, he announced he's supporting Biden. So, you got to shake off your loyalties to a particular party and just put on the cape, the red, white, and blue cape of America, the United States of America. And, hey, we're under attack from those who would rather see us be just one province of a new world order.
Indeed. And again, and I've plugged this guy's book. This is the third time I've plugged it. If you want a good read and you want to, maybe you're not somebody that really has a strong base in American history, Rating America's Presidents by Robert Spencer. I'm learning so much reading that. I mean, it's, and I can't remember which president it was because I don't want to give away this guy's whole book, but, back in the days of Thomas Jefferson, who was our third president, and after that, Adams, or John Quincy Adams and others, we used to call out Islam for what it was. If you would listen, or read rather, some of the statements by presidents and politicians about Islam in the early 1800s, late 1700s, early 1800s, what they did was they extorted us. When Thomas Jefferson was president, the pirates off the Barbary Coast, which is now Libya and that area, they would take our merchant ships and charge us ransom. Take slaves, take the women. Not that I don't know why there were women on these ships, but anyway. And we would pay them. And then the final payment was going to end up being like a large percentage of our gross national product at the time. And Thomas Jefferson said, all right, man, that's enough of that.
Oh, hell no.
Right. And then that's why we have the United States Marine Corps. And they beheaded people back then, and that's why they're called leathernecks.
of the shores of Tripoli.
Yeah, yeah. But if you listen or you read what they said about Muhammad and Mohammedans, which is what they called them at the time, it's crystal clear. And it's things that if you said today, this wrecked political system that we have would try to put you in jail. And it's all true, and it's always been true ever since 700 AD. You know, Ken's calling back, man. You're calling back. What's up?
Uh-oh.
Hey, well, so today is September 11th.
It is.
Right? We're 19 years away, or, you know, it's 19th anniversary of the attack on our sovereign nation.
The Islamic jihadist attack, yeah.
Right. Well, for many of you who have, you know, listened to the show for a while, y'all know I was the CEO of a Sea Cadet unit down here in Dahlgren. Now, Dahlgren has nothing to do with D.C. or anything, but the unit that I was in charge of was named the Pentagon Division. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, what the hell does the Pentagon have to do with Dahlgren? Well, little inside scoop on this unit. They were supposed to be called the Admiral Farragut Division.
I almost went to that
what,
school.
You know,
I almost went to that military school.
okay, well, they had submitted paperwork through Congress and all the, you know, through the whole D.C. chain of command, whatever. The paperwork to enact or to basically originate this Sea Cadet unit was sitting on somebody's desk for approval on September 11th, 2001.
Wow. So it never happened.
After the attack on the Pentagon, they changed the name of this division to the Pentagon Division. Now, the majority of these kids, when I took it, they were 12, 15, anywhere from 12 to 15 years old. Some of them kind of knew about the whole 9/11 attack. Some of them had weren't even born yet, or were born when it was, while it was happening. We were fortunate enough to have contacts with other people that knew people that knew people. We ended up getting our own private tour of the Pentagon on a Saturday when nobody was there. And I don't know if anybody's ever been in that building.
Several times.
Yes.
But it's amazing. It's
all the rings.
A working museum, basically. It's a museum with office space in it.
It needs to be shut the hell down. It absolutely does.
But these kids got to see, we went out to the memorial that they had placed out there, and actually one of my cadets, she's now an EMT that lives down in Colonial Beach area, was looking to do what they call it, the Fireman's Challenge, or the 9/11 Fireman's Challenge. She's an EMT, not a firefighter, was going to basically dress up in an FFE and hit a stair climber today.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that's one of my cadets.
There you go, man.
And man, that just makes me feel so good.
Yeah, I'll bet. I was in the Sea Cadet Corps here in Pittsburgh, man. It was some of the best times of my life, man. I was a high school student, and I was like 14, I think, and we had a Navy and Marine Corps Reserve Center that was right next to the Carnegie Museum of Natural History. And the way this center was set up, it was set up for training. So all of the ladders which are staircases for you non-Navy people, and I'm a non-Navy person myself, but I did do this. And the bulkheads and the hatches were actually, what do they call them, with the 6 different seals on them? The 6 different handles that you open the hatch and you have to step over. It's just like in a ship.
Oh, quick release, quick acting.
I mean, it was, and then they had a bridge of a ship that looked out, and it had like, I don't know how realistic it was because I've never been on the bridge of a ship, but it looked realistic to me. And they had a rifle range in there, and we marched in the drill hall. It was, we had like dungarees and dress blues and undressed blues, and I used to square my cover and all that stuff, man. It was amazing. And we had
what is that? Like the compliment to the ROTC was
JROTC was for the Army, and then I don't know what it was. I know the biggest thrill for the year for our whatever it was, our organization, was the trip to Norfolk, because you had to get on a helicopter and fly to Norfolk, and then you got to see real ships and everything. And I never got to do that. But it was fun.
We planned several trips down to Norfolk, and some of the stuff that these basically high school kids got to do that normal sailors and Marines do on a daily basis.
Right.
They thought this was the coolest thing since sliced bread.
I know.
That's why they had the program. They tried to get more.
I joined. I mean, I didn't choose the Navy, but I went into the military shortly thereafter.
There's a number of them that ended up, joining the Marine Corps. I got one cadet that was looked at by the Naval Academy to play hockey, and I don't know what happened there, but he ended up going to the Citadel. And I'm still friends on social media with a lot of these, young kids, and they're pro Second Amendment. They,
sure,
they're all voting Trump, because they're all legal to drink now. I'm like, that's how long ago this has been. But the experience that they had, because of the way that things went down when I first took over, they were actually drilling down here on the farm.
All right.
Because the base kicked them off. And they were like, until you have an actual chain of command structure and you're going to tell us what you're doing, so we had them down here.
Hey, that's understandable. All right, Ken, man, thanks for calling, brother, and keep up. You ought to get back into that, man. That's good work, man, right there. It is. It is. I don't know how prevalent.
It's a lot of work.
I know it is. I don't know how prevalent it is anymore.
Navy's got some good. The CBs. I had to actually, as an Army guy, National Guard, in a transportation unit, transport a unit of CBs to go to the firing range, and you would not believe the arsenal that they qualify. It's like, you're talking from World War II all the way up through Vietnam to the present. Because here I am, an Army guy. I'm used to the M16, and that was it.
Right.
I didn't have to shoot any of the saw or all that. They came out. There were Sten guns. That's the time I got to shoot the Tommy gun, the Thompson submachine gun. And
I carried a variant of that in Korea. I carried the M3, the grease gun.
Yeah,
but it was a 45.
We hit a number of 16-year-olds. We hooked up with a senior chief gunner's mate that was like, man, there's a directive in here. We got to mentor these kids, and we ended up going down to AP Hill and spent an entire week down there just shooting stuff.
No, that's going to be Camp Bill Clinton pretty soon, because AP Hill, he's got to go.
God.
I got to go, Ken. I'll see you. Thanks for calling.
All right, brother.
Have a great week. Let's go to Sean in California. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up, Hutch and everybody? How we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I got to say, I'm really irritated with my governor as much as
really?
Anybody else here. I mean, he just says, oh, no, we're okay. we're okay. We don't need help. I'm like, you know what? I hope you burn with the rest of the state because you're that stupid. I really do.
Okay. Hey, I got
good Lord.
I got that email you sent me. Sean sent me an email, that minigun, that 5.56 minigun. That's still a serious prototype. It's not a. I would ask you, Sean, to go back and look at the verbiage in that, and it's like I don't know where the guy marketing it came from, but it looks like somebody using a little bit of broken English. Not to take anything away from the nastiness of that weapon. I mean, that sucker, I don't know how they made it so small.
Neither did I. I thought it was something that I should share with you guys.
I appreciate it. I do.
I totally misheard the whole, they're going into mass production now. Whoops. That's my bad.
I don't know if they are or not.
I got so excited to hear that.
Yeah, it looked like a wicked weapon. I never figured out what the electrical power source was, though. But now, when you look at the lithium ion batteries that they have now, they have batteries that can power a very powerful lawnmower.
Is it like a heat triggered primer instead of a mechanical firing pin, which would take?
Well, I don't think the minigun has a mechanical firing pin anyway. I think that's been electromagnetic.
And the minigun doesn't have like recoil, as far as I remember, right?
No, it has recoil, but I mean, it has to be mounted on a base. That's what I mean. Like an M16 or any variant of that has a buffer spring in the buttstock. That Jack knows what I'm talking about. There's a big spring in there that absorbs all most of the recoil. I don't know about.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know you're talking.
I'm not sure about the minigun. It looked badass.
You think of just the A10 Warthog and that.
Oh, those things are awesome.
The titanium aircraft built around a gun.
Yeah.
Right.
Triple redundancy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man,
it's still there. They've been trying to kill it off for decades, but so far it's hanging in there.
No, I don't think they're going to get rid of that too soon.
You can't. Fairchild did it right.
Oof. But anyways, fire update. California's still burning in the northern area, and San Diego somewhat.
7,000 fires this year.
You know what? You guys are right about that whole thing about how the loonies come out and make the problems worse. Yeah, that does happen here, unfortunately. And when you brought that up, you made me think about the past article that I remembered reading on how radical Islamic wants to say or wants to really help by setting fires in the United States, and it will hurt their feelings more. So I guarantee you, somewhere along that line, there's some Muslims mixed in there.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do. If you go to steelcityresistance.com and you go to the research room, there is a mosque locator on that page that you can click, and you can look at your community, and you can see where their headquarters are. And you can call me what you want for saying that. I would give your attention especially to not necessarily the mosques, but the Islamic centers. Those are the worst.
Right.
Yeah, think of that Fethullah Gulen, right?
Exactly.
The guy in Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
That Turkey wants back that former Slick Willie allowed in the country.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Gulen schools are across the United States.
Yes, they are. And they're in places you wouldn't believe. They're in rural America, and these people are, they have a plan, and we don't have a plan to block it. Trump 2020.
Man. Well, I guarantee you they're probably in the desert mountains somewhere since they're so used to that environment.
Go check. Go check that. Go check it and see. And let me know. Let me know if it's a dead link or something. I haven't checked it for a long time, but I know it's accurate
I will check
here. It's accurate here from where I am. So anyway,
I
anything
wanted
else
to
on
let
your
you
mind?
know about the driving update as well. I'm getting
Okay.
better. Still some areas that I need to tweak and work on. Oh man,
You'll figure it
it's
out.
so hard to remember that there's bicycle lanes now that you have to avoid. Ugh.
I don't avoid them, but yeah, I got you. You'll get a ticket if you don't, but I don't care
I know,
about
and
that.
it's so stupid. It's like, come on, really?
I
In the
know.
middle of the street where there's tons of traffic.
Well, the thing that makes me mad about it is I rode bikes my entire childhood. They didn't even make helmets. There was no helmet and there was no bike lanes. And I knew instinctively and intuitively that if one of those cars hits me, I'm going down. So I avoided the cars and respected them. These guys that are out there now, they have this entitlement mentality that they can go through a red light and they can block me and I can't do anything about it. Well, wait till they hit that Ford bumper one time.
We had them Superman capes, which was like the largest towel in the closet. You'd have that. You'd go as fast as you can on your bike,
Right. And your
that cape
PF
will
flyers.
protect you.
Your PF flyers. All right, Sean, thanks for calling, man. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, thanks, guys. Peace out. See you
All
next
right.
weekend.
Okay. All right, Regina from Richmond, what's going on?
Hello.
How are you today?
How you doing?
Good.
How you doing, Jack?
Doing good. I wish the weather was better. Right now it's like mushroom season, hot and humid, and you're looking at your yard to see what the next fungi is popping up. It's crazy.
Oh, that's one of my hobbies. Pictures of
Really?
mushrooms. Yep, I take pictures of mushrooms.
Well, this is a good time. This weather.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't eat the mushrooms. I just take the pictures.
Oh, cool.
Mhm. Oh, the reason I called in, I'm gonna try to keep it short. You mentioned one of my subjects that I know very well about.
What's that?
Believe it or not, Jack mentioned it. No Child Left Behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That's George
and what
Bush,
and what y'all probably don't know is that I'm from that generation.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize that that generation got left behind, because a lot of people didn't realize at the time when they did that they was pretty much forcing people that were in special education out basically on the streets, pretty much.
Yeah, there was a time, Regina, when I was growing up, like we have a homeless problem here, and it's not as prevalent here as it is in warmer states, but it's definitely there, and it's new. I mean, when I was growing up, mental institutions were out there. There was a place where these people could live, and I'm not saying everybody that needs special education, but I'm saying that the government abandoned that whole side of it, the whole medical side of mental health, and did what you said. They just left them alone and left them,
But see, the tricky part about what that part is that you had people that didn't have what I call severe, where they have to be looked at really closely.
Right.
But you have people that have mild learning skills, but they couldn't learn as fast.
ADHD and stuff like that, right?
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was Virginia before that. That whole federal program came in. Virginia had a good program in its statewide of
so
addressing.
did Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania did too.
Yeah, of addressing those who can learn, but learn at a slower pace. And we had dedicated schools for that, and people were being taken care of. But when you implemented what the Bush administration with No Child Left Behind and federal policies, you ended that, and it turned into something completely different. You ended even the schools. You started introducing drugs to calm down kids.
That's right.
ADD, And then instead of teaching kids at their own pace, you just tried to drug somebody down to the medium pace and slow
and
it down.
then graduated them.
Right, just
And said,
push
"You're
them
gone."
through, shove
Yep.
them through, get them
Yep,
through.
yep. That's what they pretty much did to me. But I kind of sort of was in the system a lot, kind of sort of I guess earlier and stuff like that, to where I wasn't put on any type of drugs and stuff like that.
Good.
So I didn't have that problem. I was just a slow learner.
Well,
It took me a while to learn.
it was in tandem with something else too, because at that time there was another term, if you remember, called latchkey kids. This is the big, and this is before you, but it was where all of a sudden moms and dads both had to work. The economy fell the hell out because of people like Joe Biden that sent all the jobs to China and Japan at the time. And now all of a sudden mom and dad both have to work. So the kids left alone.
That was the women's movement deal.
Well, plus the economy. I mean, it was both.
Right. Well,
The-
we had who? Jimmy Carter as president at that time.
Right.
That you turn it an opportunity for both parents to work into a mandatory requirement that both parents had to work.
And there's
right?
the kids. And some of them were at a disadvantage. And it actually started, Ronald Reagan's the one where all the institutions closed. So it started back then, but then you come up and, like you said, with the No Child Left Behind Act, it was almost like the finishing touch that we're going to pretend that we don't have this problem in the country.
Right.
And they're going to go ahead and you've got so many children. Think about it, man. Think about the 60s. Think about the parents in the 60s. Some of them are in Congress to this day. And you look at their lifestyles, and now they're having children, and there's a lot of kids that were left behind. Let's put it that way. They're out there, no fault of their own, and they're like you said, Regina, a little bit slow reading, or they're reading from right to left instead of left to right because of ADHD. And what do? Provide drugs. Let them. The standards go down. So, all right, you can't read on an 8th grade level. Go to 9th grade. Now you're really lost, because I was one of them. It wasn't with reading, thank God. It was with math. I couldn't do math for shit. I still can't.
Yeah. That's my big issue. I'm good with science and reading.
I'm good with reading too. Reading comprehension, no problem. But math is something that if you don't, when they passed me from algebra 1 to geometry, I was lost, man.
Yep.
I was lost. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. I started falling asleep in class.
That is the society. Are they committed to teaching the children at their own pace? To me, that's the most important part. You don't.
Yes.
You have folks out there on TV will sit there. Oh, you're segregating them. It's discrimination. I said no. You're talking about being able to open everything from their minds at their own pace. That's not discriminating. That is embracing each person on their own learning. Folks can learn fast. Folks can learn slow. Embrace each one, and they'll all be happy, when you get to the other side. And that's what's missing big time right now.
Yeah, so believe it or not, and then and luckily they had the trade school that I went into. I had to go in trade school, and I had to kind of learn how to do things real fast. And I was, having struggles, but I survived it because I did graduate from that trade school.
Good for you. My trade school was United States Army. You know,
yeah.
I mean that's I mean it. I mean it was like, all right, algebra. I'm good now. This algebra doesn't mean shit now.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
serious.
wild. Some of that stuff they torture you with algebra, geometry,
Mm.
algebra 2.
Oh God.
It's like.
And I won awards.
But,
I won awards in creative writing, but I just couldn't get that A plus B squared stuff. It still doesn't make sense to me, and I'm not an engineer, and I never wanted to be.
Yeah.
We need to fix that curriculum, man. We do.
Oh yeah, and that's the main issue that I have with George Bush, because he messed that up because and stuff like he didn't. I think he didn't realize at the time that was messing a lot of my generation, because a lot of people don't realize that I don't fit in with the millennials or the other generation.
Well,
my generation don't fit in.
But you damn sure fit in with Cold War radio. So I'm just glad that you're listening to
fit in
us.
with the United States of America.
You're damn right.
This is a freedom-based country.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
we should celebrate the diversity in our country. Do you have folks out there protesting, burning building down, trying to get folks to appreciate the diversity of this nation? At the same time, they're trying to suppress everyone that doesn't agree with them.
Well, my opinion on diversity, my opinion on diversity is everybody that's standing underneath the flag of the United States of America. That's my people. I don't care who it is, where you're from, but if you're standing under that flag and you care about that flag, because it's not a flag, it's I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States for the republic for which it stands. Forget the flag. But the republic. You stand with the republic, you stand with me, and I stand with you.
Under God.
That's it. Under God. Thanks for calling, Regina. Appreciated the call. Great call.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a great weekend. All right. I got a question for you, Jack, because I don't really understand this much. Big tech companies are putting in place measures that will prevent Trump supporters from openly communicating and promoting their candidate before and after the election. Big tech will collectively put their knee on the neck of democracy. After the 2016 election, the Democrats, who had run the U.S. into the ground during the previous 8 years of the Obama administration, put together a plan to destroy the new media. That's us, folks. And entities like the Gateway Pundit and Breitbart et al., which helped share President Trump's message before the election. Their plan, endorsed and disseminated by Soros-funded Media Matters, a Clinton operation, was to crush and destroy every successful new media outlet which shared information complementary to the truth and in support of President Trump. What the hell does that mean, and what can we do about it? Because I don't know. I read these articles, and I just don't know.
Well, you look at this. You've allowed this new frontier, right? The internet, created by the United States military, DARPA, and all that, allowed to come out and become what it is now. And you see how it's grown. You've seen they've been able to see how voices across the world, right? And with the Arab Spring, because how many times did you see on the news where they were talking about Facebook connecting people around the globe that were rising up in support of Arab Spring? Think about that. That was reported on the TV. I mean, we're beyond that now, but that basically proved the system of global interaction, which also introduces the opportunity for global control, right? If you shut down that freedom and you have people that are declared the winners, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagram, the Googles, whoever controls it, can control the entire world.
All right, but let's not go that far. Let's just look at immediately, like right now. All these companies are based in the United States. So they're under the jurisdiction of United States law. And we have a First Amendment in this country, and I just wonder, how do we fight this? I mean, you
have to remember there was a certain signatory deal by Obama at the end of his administration is in regards to communications on the internet, which wasn't United States friendly.
Imagine that.
He signed a legal deal basically taking control of the internet itself away from the United States and put it into the hands of the United Nations.
All right, but you've got an administration
which
now.
Was a big deal.
It is a big deal. But,
deal.
I mean, are we just going to sit back and take this? Or is there...
Well, you're getting... If you're asking me, you're getting beyond. I mean, right now we have...
Right.
The 50-meter target is November the 3rd.
You're right about that. Which
has nothing to do with what we're talking about now as far as President Obama signing away the internet control that the United States had, which he signed away to the United Nations.
Well, I think that we have people, and I know that we have people that are a lot more savvy than I am. Brad Parscale comes to mind, and there's others that are behind the scenes. I just hope there's a way to combat it, and because what I see going forward, and boy, I hope I'm not too naive, but I see a Trump victory, and then I see, man, we've got a lot of work to do. Very, very intense, controversial work to do to get us past 2024. I mean, that's only 4 years. Look how they stymied this guy. I mean, you can look at everything he did.
They have actually actively shut down the reach of the president via his tweets on quite a few deals where he was spreading the truth.
Exactly.
They clamped it and basically ended that opportunity to get his message out. Suppressed it, or they put it behind something to where you have to actually click here and click there to see what he said. It doesn't matter. This is instant gratuity generation in the States. If you delay it by one step, it's done.
Well,
I have time to go boom, boom.
I have a homework assignment for the audience. Right. I got a homework assignment. Kaya Jones, who's not a big powerhouse political person, she was a musician, but I saw a tweet from her. She's on the Trump campaign, and I interviewed her a couple times. She's a great girl, great woman, and she was saying that you need to download the Trump campaign app and she warned about this big tech censorship situation to where this is a tool where we can communicate. We don't need them. So all I'm saying is somebody check that out, look into it. Let me know on Monday if it's legitimate or whatever. I'd like to know. I'll look into it too. Because I want to be ready, man. We got to be ready to fight, man. Guys, we have to. Just remember, if President Trump is reelected in November, we got their world halfway torn down, and they know it. Yep. And they're going to do everything they can, including, God protect him, taking the president out. Lesser things have happened and presidents have been assassinated. Pray for the man's health It's divine intervention. Pray for his health. This guy, if you think about it, we're so blessed. We just really are.
Think about it. The one of the number one things is they will always accuse Trump's side of what they are guilty of.
Projection. Right? You're so damn right. Yep.
They are hammering the president on his health and his mental acuity, which needs to be. They know damn well that Corn Pop's nemesis is, playing in Lincoln Log Land. Right? You have a problem with Legos right now.
Hey, Jake Tapper, the fake news guy that's really a Democrat activist, was asking old Joe, let's listen. Just listen and make up your own mind.
Just look at us, okay? Just look at us. Who seems to be in shape? Who's able to move around? This idea of, slow Joe.
Slow Joe.
I shouldn't laugh about it because, Donald Trump, just look at us both, watch us, and determine whether or not you think I'm misleading anyone, not you personally, but the public. Look at me, judge me based on. I know.
Let's just do that one more time.
Just look at us, okay? Just look at us. Who seems to be in shape? Who's able to move around? This idea of slow Joe.
Slow Joe.
What
was I thinking about?
I shouldn't laugh about it because
it's all made up.
Anyway, Donald Trump, just look at us both, watch us, and determine whether or not you think I'm misleading anyone, not you personally, but the public. Look at me, judge me based on. I know it's.
Oh my God, man! Really? You're talking about President Trump's health? This guy. It's not even funny. It's freaking terrifying. This guy's lost. I can't believe his family, man. I just.
The scary part is who is his running mate.
Oh, she's horrible too, and they're keeping her off the camera.
Even scarier is that the mafia princess is still that close to becoming president.
And she's not much further away from him. She's half demented herself. Have you watched her for longer than 5 minutes? She can't put two words together.
When I think there's going to be evidence, and they might be the guinea pigs of if you start injecting
Botox,
active, poisons like Botox into your face and near your brain, pretty soon it's going to take over. And
can you imagine? Did you see her freezer, her $22,000 freezer, full of ice cream? Who does that? How can you eat that much ice cream without it getting freezer burnt?
I don't know. That's climate controlled, and she throws a lot of parties.
I'll bet she does. I'll bet she does.
All
right, so finally, the Bidens fielded their press secretary to Brett Baer. And Brett just asked a question, and I don't have any respect for Brett left.
Right, yeah.
Because he let him get away.
Biden's enemy. Let's put it that way.
Right. But he let this guy get away, but he didn't let him get completely away.
Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A with supporters?
Brett, we are not going to engage. This is straight from the Trump campaign.
But yeah,
talking
they're
points.
using it.
And what it does, Brett, is it's trying to distract the American people.
They're using it. They talk about it every day. Can you say yes or no?
That's because they talk about it every day, Brett, because they don't have a coherent
well, you have
strategy.
an answer. Yes or no?
Brett, they talk about it every day because they don't have a coherent argument for why Donald Trump deserves re-election, deserves 4 more years. We know that he lied to the American people. We know that he has not shown leadership during this crisis, and they are desperate to throw anything they can against the wall to try to distract from that fact.
I understand, but you can't answer the question.
Brett, I am not going to allow the Trump campaign to funnel their questions through Fox News and get me to respond.
Brett, you got punked. You're a pussy.
Oh,
you got punked.
He got the punked. Antifa, the voice contest for Antifa.
Yeah,
I mean,
Brett, man, you're an embarrassment. You're a total embarrassment for letting that happen. You are an embarrassment. I used to love you too, man. I stood up for you in front of a room full of left-wing people. I stood up for you. I told these people you were the best in the business. You're a fucking pussy. You know, excuse my language, but I got to say, man, that without guys like him, I'm at a loss, man. I'm just at a complete freaking loss. I think this is embarrassing.
Isn't that like the debut of this dude named Duck Low? Like, does anything remind you of a snake slithering on the ground?
It's sickening, man. You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of this.
One America News Network, your leading source for the latest breaking national and international news. With nearly 4 times as many headlines as the other networks. Straight news, no speculation, no opinion, just the facts. Complete coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One America News Network, your source for credible news.
Do not watch Fox News Channel until at least 8 o'clock, is all I have to say. And I wonder, Chris Wallace, did you get those debate questions to the Biden camp yet? I'm sure you did. I mean, did you send them the debate questions? That's probably why the press secretary stopped by to talk to Brett. He was probably there to pick up the questions from you and Bobo Brazil. Yeah, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Was it one of the other debate hosts is going to be somebody that worked with Biden back in the day, but now
no doubt in
works
my
at
mind.
NPR?
No doubt in my mind. No doubt at all. Understand this, people. We got everybody against us. It's everybody against this audience times 1 million, because there's times 10 times 100 million. It's us against them.
I don't think so. I'm encouraged by every time you see the president go to an airplane hangar, and there is thousands of people there, and you see who's at a Biden appearance.
You know, another thing that I missed is this new Netflix show that's coming out, Cuties, which is a pedophilia show. And people are railing against it, and they're saying, oh, it's just a right wing. These people that we're up against, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all of them, they're sexual deviants, man. They are. If you think back on every show that you've ever seen in the last 10 years that was good, guaranteed you've seen a man sucking face with another man or some such variant of that. And I mean, it's everywhere. It's on The Wire. You know, all your good shows, The House of Cards, every show 24, every single Hollywood show that's good, they have to inject that into the duck plucking show.
And it's you had recently some top Kevin Spacey.
He is the biggest pig.
Big Hollywood.
Let me tell you about Kevin Spacey. Is so arrogant, and these people at Netflix, Obama, Susan Rice, both Obamas, Big Mike and Little Barack, are both so deviant that they're supporting this. Kevin Spacey is so arrogant. This prick raped people in his life and wrote that shit into the script of House of Cards. I watched the House of Cards. I thought it was one of the best shows I ever saw about the corruption of Washington, D.C. But when I saw his character, his homosexual predator character, screwing his young police officer and his buddies at his military academy, and then he was accused of it for real and got off, and now another guy came out, a guy from Star Wars, and Kevin Spacey's a pig, and I hope he goes to prison.
Yeah,
just for the arrogance. Just for the arrogance.
A Clinton issue with the Spacey accusers. They seem to be ending up dead.
Imagine that, huh? Because who knows what Bill and Hillary have done to little children.
Right.
You know?
So you go along with that, and you've seen over the last
I really didn't mean to end the show this way, folks.
There's been a very nice increase in arrests and rescues of children that have been caught up in this sick web.
And this is something that the president is adamant about.
Right.
He's adamant about it.
And then here you have Netflix coming up with this show, and
What's
they think
sick
that
people?
this is
Sick people.
any way appropriate.
I thought I put some verbiage in the show notes, and I didn't. So I'm going to go on recollection from what I read. There are crotch shots of these children twerking. There are even some topless shots of these children. This is sick stuff, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is.
We have to kill this. We have to kill this with prejudice, with extreme prejudice, and everybody involved in it. If we don't kill this, everything else is gone.
Yeah, this is like...
Look at the BLM people. Look at the BLM people. They're not normal black people, folks. This is a setup.
Think about the Hollywood, the California, the Ed Bucks of this world.
Oh, my God.
You add in all of this, and this is almost as if they're doing the double middle finger at the United States.
At us.
This is the way we want it.
At people that want to raise a good family.
Right.
This is, the whole thing about demeaning masculinity and male, our place in the world, our godly place in the world, to raise our family, to protect our family, to guide our family, to respect women.
To victimize those young children and put them on TV like this is
it's sick. It is sick, and if you watch it, you're
America,
paying for it.
and it
If you
should
watch
never
it,
be.
if you're subscribed to Netflix, you're paying for this. You're letting it happen. And I hate to say that, but we have only a few weapons at our disposal, and one of them is our money. If you watch the baseball games, you're paying for it. You watch Netflix, you're paying for it. I mean, I'm just saying. One of the things that we do have is our money. Maybe we don't have that much of it, but collectively we got a lot of it. We got to do something about this. And the public square is polluted, man. Wow. All right, I didn't expect it to go that way, but sometimes you got to get emotional because that's what it's all about.
Well, hey, anytime you're trying to victimize young children like that, if you're not going to blow some steam, then
That's
you
right.
might be on the wrong side of that.
I got grandchildren now, you know what I mean? And I raised my kids. I did the best I could, and they're doing pretty good. Now I got these little ones running around, and it's like, oh, my God, what are we leaving them? It's up to us, folks. It's not up to your neighbor. It's up to you. It's up to me. And we're going to do this. By God, we're going to do this. Winners and losers, Jack. The show has come to this.
All right, it's rotating around between President Trump. Well, actually, I'm going to think it is President Trump because, as we discussed earlier, they announced that Bahrain has agreed to a deal with Israel on top of his Nobel Prize Serbia, Kosovo, and Nobel Prize nominee for Israel and the United Arab Emirates. There's peace like exploding in the regions that have been waiting for peace for a long time. So, and President Trump is one of the key folks involved in trying to get this done. You know, imagine that. The big bad orange man.
Liz Cheney's so mad. She's South or wherever Wyoming senator, representative.
No,
Liz Cheney.
There's 2 senators in Wyoming and 1 representative.
Right. That tells you all you need to know.
She is the one representative.
And put there by Paul Ryan, by the way.
Convenient how they got that. Well, we're going to defeat him. We're going to defeat him, folks. A loser. The Democrat National Committee, the election campaign, along with the folks that are carrying the water, the mainstream media, for attacking the president on his COVID response because of Bob Woodward's book release. You know?
How sickening.
How be it that somebody elected to lead a nation of over 350 million folks did not come out and say, your life is in danger. Run for the hills. You're on your own.
Something else.
No. What did he do? He basically, boom, did what he laid it out smooth. And meantime, he's being indicted or impeached in our Congress at the time. Now think about this. So he says, we're going to shut down in flights from China because this virus was discovered, and we got concerns. And I'm going to announce my team, Vice President Pence, and every top virologist and medical guy and woman, and they're going to be the ones in charge of it. And we're going to make sure everyone's safe. And he's being basically accused of lying to the American people. No, I would say that in his position, he did what a leader would do, right?
No, I agree with you.
Not to cause panic while the information's coming in. Let them know, right? There's a reason why we shut off incoming traffic from China is because they released a virus. We don't know the details. Nobody knows, but we're going to try.
But it wasn't China. It wasn't China.
Well, according
to Governor Cuomo, it wasn't
Europe,
China.
Right? Okay.
Donald Trump caused the COVID outbreak in New York. Donald Trump caused the COVID outbreak in New York. That is a fact. It's a fact that he admitted, and the CDC admitted, and Fauci admitted. The China virus, the China virus, the China virus. It was not the China virus. It was the European virus that came to New York.
Oh, that's what it was.
They missed it.
You stupid.
They missed it. The China virus went to Europe. It got on a plane. It went to Europe. They never even thought of the possibility. And then 3 million Europeans got on the plane and came to New York.
3 million.
And
That's
they
some hell
brought
of a
the
planes.
virus.
Those are some big ass planes.
January, they brought the virus. February, they brought the virus.
In
March,
planes.
they brought the virus.
3 million.
And in mid-March, the federal government does a travel ban from Europe.
Right.
Mid-March.
Wasn't that when you were sending them to the old folks'
Mr.
home?
President, he caused the COVID outbreak in New York. Donald Trump and his incompetent CDC
and his incompetent NIH and his incompetent Department of Homeland Security.
Ladies and gentlemen, CNN's candidate for president of the United States.
Yeah.
Mary.
Holy mackerel.
Sick,
Does that guy have some stones?
He
I mean,
does,
he
man.
should be floating face down
No doubt,
in the
man.
Hudson right now.
It's kind of convenient that he's under investigation by the DOJ for the people that he murdered.
Right,
But other than that. All right, so my winner, GOP groups go on the offensive for John James as the Senate race in Michigan becomes a toss-up. John James is going to be your next senator from the state of Michigan, ladies and gentlemen.
Michigan
A hero.
They're going to miss out if they don't put him in the Senate.
I think they're going to. I think they are. He just evened it up, and now phony-ass Chinese Communist Party Mitch McConnell has put some money behind him. So because the only thing that's important to him is that he stays in charge of the Senate. And I'd love to see them kick his ass out. I would.
Yeah.
I hate that guy. That guy is a detriment.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt me if he lost to the
me either.
Democrat. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I do know what you're saying. The same way with Pat Toomey in Pennsylvania. I'd love to see him go. No question about it. But we have to hold the House. That's the important thing. My
the
loser.
House back, right?
Yeah, I think we can too. We only have to win 17 seats. I think it's a possibility. My losers. The Portland police rip into Mayor Ted Wheeler for banning them using tear gas to stop life-threatening riots. I mean, you talk about... I heard today, I don't know if it was 2/3 or 3/4 of the people, the electorate in the actual city of Portland have unfavorable ratings of Ted Wheeler. Why don't you people impeach him? Get him gone. He moved out. It blows my mind, man.
It's
I don't know what to say. It is. I don't know what to say.
Left coast.
Jack, great show, man. Another excellent week in review on Cold War Radio. Final thoughts.
Yeah, always enjoy Fridays here. Thank you. I feel blessed to be a part of it, and I love to hear from everyone that calls in. The listeners, we get to hear firsthand what's going on the West Coast, and I would ask everyone tuned in, listening, and everyone in the chat room, if you bend the knee and pray, have a little prayer in there for the folks on the West Coast to get this fires in control. Other than that, be blessed. I'll be back next Friday to join Mr. Hutch Bailey Jr. on Cold War Radio.
All right, Jack, always appreciate it. We've got a really good team going forward. We've been together for about a year now. Not looking to make any changes, man. I like it right the way it is. I hope you guys enjoy being part of the team, and you sound like you do. You make a great impact. Thank you very much. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you go to Facebook.com/Cold War Radio 22, the email to the show, scrtv@live.com. Check the show out everywhere there's podcasts. Make sure you catch the iHeartRadio app, which is, Jack straightened me out, man. He's been with me since 2017. Absolutely. But I'm talking about the whole team. We got some other people. I don't know.
Amazing.
I have to look at it. A great team, no doubt. So check out the Cold War Radio app, free in your app store. YouTube, you can catch the show. About 40 people listen over there, where there are captions. Check out rsbn.bandcamp.com. Jacob Seals really kicks the music off. You're listening to it behind me. We'll be back on Monday, ladies and gentlemen. God bless.
so proudly we hail, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the fray, and the home of the brave? Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight to rename the name of the brave. We are the U.S. of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save this land of the brave, the U.S. of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the
Thank you. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.